Episode 169, lucky for some, of Australia's #1 marketing show. Listen up as I share 5 ways to take advantage of guest post blogging, share some listener love, and chat with a marketer who successfully created a TV show promoting, wait for it, a suburb.
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I am your host, Timbo Reid. That's right, coming at you from Melbourne, Australia. But so much more importantly, as I continue to say, is the fact that you are a motivated small business owner here, right now to crank out some really good marketing to help grow that baby of yours we generally call your business. That's what this show's all about. It's about finding the best marketers, the best marketing ideas, the best marketing discussion from around the world to inspire and motivate you to just build the business that you deserve, that you want. So that's what we do. That's why we're here. And have we got a show today that is going to address all those things exactly? Now, this show is brought to you by Net Registry. A little bit more about them in a minute. And we are also here to welcome all those at the Flying Solo community. However, take a listen to what we are going to cover in today's episode, team. We have got a listener question about how to take advantage of a guest post blogging gig. This listener has got. It's a really good gig. So I have got 5 ways in order for him to do that. I've got some listener feedback from a ceramicist, which I was meant to read last week, but completely fell off my show notes radar. So I'll share that today. Got some questions regarding the Small Business Big Marketing Forum and today's guest. Today's guest. Not the usual type of guest for the show, but boy, oh boy, can we learn a lot from this fellow who's decided to go and put together a marketing strategy to promote a suburb. I know. What about that? We've had people right here on this show promoting national days and all sorts of other wacky things, but a suburb? Surely not. But some marketing gold in there. Let's get stuck in. Hey, great feedback, team, about last week's episode with Mike from Mike's Lessons, a guy who used YouTube to create an amazing offline and online drum teaching business out of the States. Marketing gold in there. And also, go back a couple of weeks ago, if you haven't, and have a listen to my interview with Chris Ducker about how to use virtual assistants. You know my views on building a virtual marketing team. We all need one. And the one before that, just before Chrissy, was with that lady from Canada who's got her clients tattooing her logo on their bodies. Oh, there's so much marketing goodness out there. Now, as you know, this show, and if you don't, where have you been? What rock have you been hiding under? This show is brought to you by the very good folk at Net Registry, and it can't happen without them. So let's give them a little bit of support. Net Registry are there to get your online marketing sorted, and it can be a bit of a technical minefield, the old mind and minefield, actually, the old online marketing. So Net Registry have got 3 exclusive packages for you, the motivated small business owner. One's a SEO package, a do-it-yourself SEO package, $99. Keyword strategy service, where they go and help you identify the keywords that you should be targeting in that big monster that we lovingly call Google. And that's $99, normally $250. And they've got a Google AdWords setup service, which is $150 to get your Google AdWords pay-per-click love happening. So netregistry.com.au, or even better, head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, click on the Net Registry banner, and you will see those packages described. Alrighty, let's get stuck in to our listener question.
Hi Timbo, it's David Kidston here from Hack Architecture. We're a small firm of architects up here in Newcastle, New South Wales. I've recently landed a blogging gig with realestate.com. Now, I think this is a great opportunity for me, but I'm just wondering how do I best take advantage of that? I'm currently frantically working on a new website, but what other suggestions would you have?
Absolutely ripper question, David, and thanks for sending it in. Now, what I want to do is share 5 ways for you to take advantage of this fantastic guest post blogging gig. Now, number 1, establish how your client will measure success, okay? I think it's really important that you're clear up front how your client's going to judge what it is you do. So contact them and ask them that exact question so that then you can develop a blogging strategy that addresses that. I mean, you also want to, of course, create a blogging strategy that addresses what what the reader wants, but it's the client who is paying the bills. Okay, number 2. Over-deliver. And I mean over-deliver in quality of your work, consistency of your work, and the forms of your work. Now, let me explain that further. Obviously, make the quality fantastic. That doesn't mean really long blog posts. I reckon it actually means I think 300 words is a real sweet spot for blog posts. Yeah, sure, do the long form one every now and then, but you want as many people to read it and share it as possible. And 300 words does seem to be the sweet spot. Be consistent, okay? If you're going to deliver, if you're saying you're to deliver one a month, deliver one a month. If you're going to say one a week, deliver one a week, and be really consistent. That's good for your client, and it's also good for the reader because it sets an expectation. And over deliver in the forms your blog post takes. Don't just think of a blog post as a written word. Okay, think it can be it can be an audio recording, it could be video, it could be images that you comment on. It doesn't just have to be the written word. So over deliver in all those forms, Dave. Number 3, mate. Encourage your client to actively promote your posts via their email list, via their social media platforms, via word of mouth, so that when they're in meetings with their clients, they can tell them about your blog posts. So it's not that your client may not want to actively promote, it's just that they've got lots on their mind. And the old adage, the squeaky wheel gets oiled. Be the squeaky wheel, mate, and encourage them to actively promote your work. Number 4, in 5 ways to take advantage of your guest post blogging, Dave. Continue to look for different angles in terms of what you blog about. Now, one of the constant things that I hear, whether it be about blogging or podcasting or video marketing or really any form of content marketing, is I'm going to run out of ideas. Well, you're not. And don't let yourself, if you ever feel yourself thinking that, hit it straight away. Give it a good old spanking straight away, because I'll give you 5 ways. In fact, what have I got here? Yeah, 5 ways to continue to look for new angles. These are from 151 Ways, a little paper that I've written that lives inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. It's titled 151 Tips on How to Come Up with a New Blog Post every time. Here's 5, Dave. 1, share a trend. 2, write a tutorial. 3, solve a problem. Ask for questions. Like as marketers, we are problem solvers. So get your client to send to their readers what questions they have that you can answer. Number 4, debunk a myth that lives inside that industry. And number 5, predict the future. Be a futurist. We love a futurist. Get the crystal ball out and tell us what's going to happen next week or next year. So there's 5 ways to never run out of content. My 5th idea, Dave, for taking advantage of a guest post blogging gig is to consider repurposing your posts. Now, I've sort of already touched on that earlier on, but if you are providing written posts on an ongoing basis, think about how you can take that content and for your client, turn it into, say, an infographic. Get onto Elance or Odesk and find an illustrator who does infographics. You could read your blog post and turn that into an MP3 file and send that to your client as well. So, hey, here's the written words, and hey, here's an audio recording of me reading it for those who want to listen instead of read. You could also summarize your blog post in some slides and upload them to SlideShare. So, Dave, well done on getting a gig. It's fantastic, and it should be good exposure for you, and hopefully those ideas help. Now, listeners, if you have got a question, send it to me, questions@smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, or even better, you could join the Small Business Big Marketing Forum and ask me questions every day of the week. Now, when I say questions, I of course mean marketing questions. Don't, sort of send me an email saying, like, hey, Timbo, why do cornflakes go soggy in hot milk? Because I'll probably make up some silly answer. I'm still wondering myself. It annoys me because I love the crunch of cornflakes. And I love hot milk as well, but I digress. Now, I have been, speaking of questions, by the way, been getting lots of questions about the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. So I am going to hit them on the head here and now very quickly. I have got 7 of them. But first I want to say that on January 23, 2014, of which it is a couple of weeks away, I've added a new little kind of a bit of value to being a member of the forum, which is a monthly webinar with me and a special guest. And this month's guest is Ryan Spanger, who is an absolute video marketing specialist. And Ryan's going to join me and forum members to talk about how they can maximize their video marketing. Equipment they need, how to do the setup, how to create content easily and simply, how to get over the fear of staring down the barrel of a camera, all those questions you might have about video marketing. So that is an exclusive webinar I'll be running on January 23 for forum members, and that's going to happen once a month. We'll cover a different topic. So now, and if you want to join, pause right now and just join, because it's an ace forum. It's an ace forum. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, click on the forum button, and you can be in there quicker than you can say, geez, Timbo, I didn't realise how ace this forum really was. Now, I've got 7 questions that listeners have, and various people when I meet them, have asked me about the forum. Number 1, what is it? Well, it is an online forum basically where you can go in and post a question, very simply, very easy, a marketing question of which I answer and all the other forum members contribute to as well. There is training, there's marketing training in there that I have created across all sorts of areas, from blogging to branding to pay-per-click advertising to video marketing to podcasting or copywriting, all sorts, email marketing. Gosh, the list goes on. That lives inside the classroom part of the forum. There's a place to share your successes. There's a place to access all the different productivity tools that I use in my business to get more done with less. There's place to discuss books and podcast episodes. Look, it's just basically a place to celebrate marketing and to grab great insights and tips and ideas to help grow your business. So that's what it is. Is it just, next question, is it just for Australian business owners? Oh, no, it's not. As I said in last week's episode, we've got listeners and members from all over the world, including Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, America, the UK, India, that's not true, Indonesia, Ireland, Canada, and the list goes on. So it's wonderful to sort of see all those different small business owners connect from around the world. India. Well, maybe one day there will be someone from India. That's a big country. Do I need to be a techo? No, you don't need to be a techo. I use this really beautifully simple forum software, and it's all online, and it's a really, really simple process. As soon as you pay your membership fee, that's another question that I have in a minute, I'll answer. You are straight in. You can upload a photo of yourself if you want to, write a short bio, and then you're in and start asking questions. You'll be asking questions within 5 minutes. Can I access it from anywhere? You certainly can. The whole thing's online. In fact, there's even a great little plugin called TapaTalk, TapaTalk, which is an iPhone, Android, and Windows-based app. I think it's about $4 or $5 that allows you to access any forum from on any smart device. Plus, you can access it from any computer. All you need is your login details. Is it for me? People ask. Of course, it's for you. It's for you if you are a motivated small business owner who wants to to be accountable for their marketing, who wants to share marketing ideas with others to get their opinions. If you're someone who has a marketing question that you'd love the opinion of me and other motivated small business owners, it's for you if you want to seek just good quality marketing training. So if you're interested in marketing as a way of growing your business, then it's absolutely for you. And you might be a business owner, you might be someone who works in a small business, or you might be a marketing manager at a larger company. Either way, it's for you. How much? $49 a month. It's $1 for the first 7 days. So you can try it out, have a look around. 100% of it, you can have a look around for $1 for the first 7 days. See if it's for you, make a contribution, and then it's $49 a month thereafter. It's not going to be that price forever. I am going to put it up at some point. I just don't know when, and I will tell you. What can you expect? Lots of ideas to help grow your business, insights into the new world of marketing, because it does change all the time, this world of marketing. An opportunity to ask me questions on a daily basis. I'm in there every day. The opportunity to remain accountable. There's people in there who'll team up with, who will, both of you can operate as accountability groups and just get stuff done in terms of your marketing. And plus you get access to the latest training. So that's some questions that I get asked often about the forum. You can head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and join immediately. I'd love to see you in there. It's growing at a great rate. It's a wonderful community, and it's all for the benefit of growing that baby of yours called your business. Now, I was meant to share this listener feedback that I got on the email last week, but maybe because last week's episode ran for about an hour and 20 minutes, that this just it fell off the radar. However, it's from Claire Fennessy of claybody.com.au. She says, "Hey, Tim, I have just discovered your podcasts and they are great! Exclamation mark added. I am a one-person small micro business working at home and in my parents' garage studio. I have been listening to your podcasts while I'm in the studio, so I am working and learning at the same time." Amazing how many people do that. I'm sort of background noise. I am ambient in a way. Is that good? Don't know. At least they're listening. Back to Claire, she says, "Thanks also for the marketing report. That will be very helpful." What she was referring to there is if you sign up at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, I send a video actually now of some marketing wake-up calls that I think every small business owner should know about. Claire goes on to say, "My business is called Claybody. I am a ceramic artist and I make homewares and jewellery. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for your great show and the fantastic interviews. I'm learning so much. Have a great day. Warm regards, Claire." Hey, thanks, Claire. Love your work. Hey, listeners, if you want to share some feedback, you can either email me or you can head over to iTunes and leave a bit of a listener review, because that builds my ranking and my ego. Righto, guys and girls, let's get stuck in to today's guest. His name is Johnathan Reichwald. He's a young bloke in his mid-20s. He's in business development at the Frankston City Council, Frankston being a suburb of Melbourne. Now, Johnathan isn't the typical guest that I'd have on the show, in that he's not a small business owner and he's not, nor is he the provider of a service to small business that is going to change our world. However, and that's kind of the criteria, by the way, for coming on the show. However, I think Johnathan has done something extraordinary with the marketing of a suburb that is kind of a suburb within Melbourne, within Australia, that is often under the pump, can be laughed at, can be the butt of jokes. But he's created a TV show that is working hard to put this suburb in a positive frame. And I think it's fantastic. I saw Johnathan speak recently at an event I was at, and he was by far and away the best speaker, and he shared some marketing gold. Basically, it all becomes clear in this fireside chat I have with Johnathan. Suffice to say that Frankston is not one of Melbourne's better suburbs. And I live next door to Frankston. It's a beachside suburb, and it's just down the road from where I live. He is operating in not the most entrepreneurial environments, is Johnathan. Local council, that is no mean feat, getting a TV show up. within the confines of a local council's marketing and business development department. Now, there's lessons here for us all about challenging the conventions and having a go with the marketing of our business, challenging the conventions of our category in which we operate. You've heard me talk about that before. We've all got to do it if we want to stand up, if we want to get noticed, if we want to punch way above our marketing weight. Johnathan has done exactly that. So I'm really excited about this interview, and I think you'll really enjoy it too. If you're thinking, oh, it's not really for me, he markets a suburb and he's done a TV show, I'll never do that. Well, stick with it, because I reckon you'll find some marketing gold in here. Now, the music selection, my little intro music, you Australians, you New Zealanders will get a laugh from it. For those of you who are in another country, just look up Jimmy Barnes, and that'll give you some greater insight into this track selection. Hey, enough from me. Here's Johnathan from the Frankston City Council, responsible for Frankston TV.
Working class man.
Johnathan Reichwald, Business Development, Frankston City Council. Welcome to Small Business Big Marketing.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Mate, a pleasure to have a local amongst the Small Business Big Marketing tribe. Now, I was telling you before we went to air, this show gets downloaded in 110 countries. We need to set the context. What is Frankston?
Well, Frankston geographically is about 40 kilometres from Melbourne, which is the second biggest city in Australia. So it's in metropolitan Melbourne on the outskirts, and Frankston is a beachside, a bayside city that unfortunately
sounds pretty nice so far.
It does sound nice so far. Unfortunately, whether it's true or not, it suffers from a reputation problem. And that's a domestic issue, and that's to do with things like antisocial behaviour, maybe some drug use, things that happen everywhere, but for a few varying reasons, seems to be highlighted in Frankston. For example, the train station in Frankston is at the end of the train line.
Always trouble at the end of a train line.
Always trouble at the end of the train line, especially when the train line is named after that city. So anything that happens up that train line, it's on the Frankston train line, regardless of if it's in a different suburb. So that's an example of how Frankston cops a bit of a pounding from a media and marketing point of view. And so that's where the issue started. And I suppose the context behind this is my own personal experience being in London and having two fellow Australians, but from a different part of the country in Queensland, doing a YouTube search for Frankston just for their own personal entertainment.
Right.
And they thought by doing a YouTube search for Frankston, they'd cop drugs and beatings and alcohol and just some pretty poor behaviour, really.
Bit harsh.
Well, that was there.
Yeah.
That's how Frankston was portrayed globally via YouTube at the time. This is 2008. Mm-hmm. And it was then that I realised that there was a problem that needed to be. Well, I knew there was a problem, but this really alerted me to it, and something needed to be done about it.
So you were in London having a holiday, or
I actually
sowing your wild seeds, as they say.
Yeah, I was doing what young fellas do.
So had you been already working at Frankston, or you were already at Frankston City Council?
Yeah.
So you're with these mates. They've just kind of got this impression of Frankston that got up your goat, so to speak.
Yep.
Did you slam your fist on the table and said, boys, I'm going to have to do something about this?
I didn't. I was quiet and I observed. They were from Caloundra on the Sunshine Coast.
Oh, well, they know.
So one had
surfing,
a mullet and the other one,
exactly
right. Had tats. So if I said anything, I might have. They might have been the next YouTube video.
yeah, correct.
But it was interesting because I actually resigned and left Frankston and then came back.
Furious.
Well, I was surprised they took me back, to be honest. But
right.
But maybe it's because of this that they wanted me.
Right. So just to be clear, I think it's pretty clear the scene we've set for Frankston, outer suburb of Melbourne. Look, it is right on the beach. It kind of in the way it's been built, it does turn its back to the beach, but it's right on the beach on Port Phillip Bay. There is some violence. There is kind of some antisocial behaviour. Some lovely parts of it too. I mean, there's some nice restaurants, but it does cop a beating. And I guess in any city, in any world, there is going to be a suburb that kind of cops it. Takes one for the team, so to speak.
No doubt.
Takes
one for the team. And I think, to all of the investors out there that might be listening, there is a sort of gentrification occurring at the moment.
It's a big word, Jonathan, for Frankston.
It's a big word. It's a big word. But there's a lot of money being pumped in privately and publicly. So don't write it off by listening to this conversation, is what I'm saying.
No, absolutely not. And look, I live in the suburb next door to Frankston, and so and I love the whole area. So not writing it off, but I think it really is important. I mean, we are setting up the problem for which you very cleverly have found a solution along with obviously some other people. So let's talk about what the solution was. The solution is called Frankston TV. What is Frankston TV?
Well, Frankston TV is an evolution of a YouTube campaign, really. And I think the way to paint the picture to start with is that all we did was set up a YouTube channel called Frankston TV. So it wasn't that sophisticated to start with, but we knew there was a few things that we had to do to solve the problem at hand, which was if you typed in, people were typing in Frankston for comic value, as we know. So
you are who Google says you are.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Yeah, perception's reality, and that's what was on there. So we knew that we needed to do two things: create positive content and optimize it. Basically.
Yeah, right. And bump the bad stuff onto page 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Correct.
Yeah?
Bump the bad stuff.
So was that a conscious decision to actually say, hey, listen, we need to bump the bad stuff off page 1?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Overwhelm it with positive content.
Right. Okay. So this YouTube idea was literally the first kind of iteration of Frankston TV was let's get a YouTube channel up.
Yeah, well, it was a bit more coordinated than that. We knew what we wanted to achieve out of it, but the first step was create the channel, get the online real estate. So we then had the issue of what is a way for us to overwhelm it just through sheer volume of content. We didn't have the resources to do it ourselves. We don't have tens of thousands of dollars to devote to film production. And the other thing anyone who operates in the online space will know is that if it's not organic, it's very transparent, and people, there's a lot of government videos out there that are very cringeworthy, and they're not organic. They're not sort of. They're manufactured. They really are contrived. And
it's corporate video.
They're corporate videos, and they're not going to get the views. There's a few things on YouTube, and it's changed since the start of the campaign that bumps things to the top of the results of searches, and views is a real big one.
Yep.
Obviously, there's things that you've got control over, like tags and the categories and the description in your video and the name of your video. But views is one thing you don't necessarily have control over. We'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, great. But, so you've opened up this channel. What were the first few videos you put up there?
Well, so we opened up the channel and we needed a way to generate momentum and generate content. So the first thing we did was, and this was a suggestion of a young local business operator, was run a YouTube competition.
And dare I say, past guest of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, Brad Smith of Brap, is that who you're referring to?
That's correct. And I'm
crazy guy.
Not surprised that he's been on this show because he's a very, very intelligent young man.
Mate, he is a publicity machine. In fact, before you came, I was looking at the most recent episode of Frankston TV, and there's his big, ugly dial right there. Right.
Speaking awfully quickly and making those silly noises.
So anyway, so you deferred. Brad he's got a business in Frankston, a motorcycle business.
Yep.
Classic Frankston bogan, by the way. I say that as a term of endearment too.
He's Tasmanian. Let's just get that straight.
Yeah, but he must come from the Frankston part of Tasmania as well.
The whole of Tasmania is the Frankston part.
We'll just get into so much trouble. So he's come up with the idea of a competition.
Yeah, a competition. And we. This was pre-channel, pre-everything. Run a competition, try and bump this negative stuff off. So that's what we did. Frankston TV was a no-brainer in terms of a brand. We could have called it Frankston Tube or something, but Frankston TV had room to grow. I like to set up marketing campaigns that have got room to evolve. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't know at the start where it's going to end up.
Yeah, good idea. Great idea.
I love leaving that room for it. I don't like to be too prescriptive at the start. So we ran the comp, and the comp was, I would say, very successful in terms of knocking off those top hits. The clever thing we did, I mentioned views being key to search engine results on YouTube. what we did was we said to the entrants, it's not the best quality video that will win. It'll be the most viewed video that'll win. Forcing each of the entrants to
ring all their mates and click watch.
Promote. Or either that or watch it 50 million times themselves.
Yeah.
So it wasn't foolproof, but it did the job. Every entrant that was serious about winning had to promote it via their own social media
network.
mediums, created a heap of links. And just straight to the top.
So tell me, the premise of the competition was create a video. You have to be a business within Frankston.
No? Anyone with an interest in Frankston.
Any Frangerite.
Any Frankstonite, yeah.
We do, again, for listeners elsewhere, we lovingly refer to Frankston as Franger, don't we? And in other parts of the world, a Franger is not a suburb.
No.
It is something else.
It is something else.
One would call it prophylactic.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
But there's just so many gags here. But we're here to promote Frankston, Jonathan,
That's right,
so stop mucking around.
We won't go too close to that.
So, okay, anyone within Frankston can put a video up,
correct,
directly upload, or have to go through council filter?
So what we did was we weren't too prescriptive again, because we recognised this is not a competition where someone fills in a form and puts it in a box. There's a bit more involved. You got to go out and shoot a video, cut it. There's a bit of work involved. Volume, we weren't going to get huge volumes, thousands and thousands of videos, but we needed to make sure the ones that we got were bumped up as much as we could. But in terms of where the council mediated them or had a look at them first, what we did was we commissioned a bit of web functionality that they would actually upload it through the Frankston TV website.
Oh, yeah.
So rather than creating their own channel, there's no mechanism through YouTube for someone else to upload a video to your channel. Unless it's a mobile video, but that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So what we did was we got a web company to set that up. I don't believe it's been done anywhere else for this purpose, but it's certainly a really good concept for any small business out there. Set up on your website the ability, depending on what business you're in, for the public to upload a film clip to your channel. Now, the only thing that does is it allows you to gather all the information and build a database for people uploading. It also allows you to mediate that clip so that you can make sure there's no sort of dodgy content on there. We already have a problem, so the last thing we need is this to be an avenue for it to be made even worse.
Yeah.
The ironic thing is the first question that I get asked about Frankston TV without fail almost is
can you understand what they say?
How do you stop negative clips being uploaded? And to be honest with you, it hasn't been a problem because people know that they're going to be reviewed, that their clips, so they're not going to go to the effort of cutting and making a film clip for hours and hours, if not days, to then not have it see the light of day. That's been our biggest preventer, I suppose.
Yeah, right.
Just the knowledge that it's going to be reviewed by someone, council in this case.
So just to be clear, it's on frankston.tv or
Correct.
Frankston Council website, frankston.tv.
So, we've got
You've created this kind of funnel that you can upload the video in. You get to complete some metadata, that kind of description, headline, tags, all that yourself as the uploader of the video.
The uploader does, correct.
Yep.
They get to make that themselves.
Goes through to some little men with mullets sitting in a back room somewhere.
In a dark corner.
Yeah, scratching their chin going,
That's right.
And then go, yep, that's fine, straight onto YouTube for people to see.
Yep, and those people in a dark corner would be us.
Yep.
And we'll I think we've knocked back 3 videos so far.
Why? What were they?
They were businesses. So one thing we do as council, and I'm obviously in the business development area, is that we allow any business within Frankston City, and this is an advantage of doing business in Frankston City, to upload a promotional clip to Frankston TV for free. They don't have to pay for that real estate. So the reason why I've knocked back 3 is because we've had businesses outside of Frankston City trying to upload, which is really good. They're obviously seeing some commercial value to it, which is...
Well, they want to get in front of people who live in Frankston. So good on them for doing that.
Yep.
So, okay, so videos are uploaded. How many got uploaded for the competition?
We had 22 videos, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 22 people went to the effort of actually...
Well, there's some quite big barriers to entry to do it. You know, like I'm running a competition on the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. No, it's not a competition. I've got 2 members of the Small Business Big Marketing Forum challenging themselves to knock out the first video. And it's been great, you know, and that just says to me, you know, like some of this stuff that you and I may take for granted, like punching out a podcast like I am now or shooting off a quick video, for other small businesses, that seems quite extreme.
Absolutely.
And you've got to remember the space that many of them are coming from is maybe, gosh, in my day, putting a video together, that was thousands of dollars and a big camera and a crew and, so it's not like that anymore. So 22 is a good. And then how many views did the winner get, and in total did the channel get?
Winner got a bit over 3,000 views, which is good considering it was a localised campaign. It didn't go global or viral or anything. It was, which it would have been nice if it did, because that's the negative videos tend to go viral.
Yeah.
But, the actual campaign, I think the comp ran for about 4 months. We ran it.
That's long.
Well, we wanted to really generate that momentum.
Yep.
And I think about 16,000 views over the life of that, and it got the ball rolling for it. Once again, they don't sound like huge numbers, but 16,000 views. Our catchment's 130,000 in terms of population locally. So
that's pretty good.
We're not dealing with millions of people, but that we were really happy with that. And it really started the ball rolling on. We got to the top of the search results on YouTube. So the winner.
So tell me about that. How quickly did you all of a sudden see Frankston TV entering page 1 and finding its way to the top? Was it weeks, months?
It was probably within weeks of clips coming in and entered into the competition. And what has to be remembered is that at the time, there wasn't much competition for that real estate. There wasn't a lot of people uploading clips about Frankston. There was those few negative ones, but there wasn't a huge volume of them coming in. So all of a sudden, Google, YouTube, their algorithm has had this whack of videos about Frankston. And they're all optimized. They've all got Frankston in the name. They've all got Frankston in the category, the tag, the description. And at the time, you could, I'm not sure of the correct terminology, but keyword saturate.
Keyword stack.
Keyword stacking. Yeah. At the time, this was pre-keyword stacking sort of data hitting the shelves of Google and the algorithms being amended to sort of deal with that. So we just stacked it. We just stacked it.
And I wonder whether Larry and Sergey, owners of Google, have just kind of leant back in their chair and go, boys, Frankston seems to be hitting page 1. Can you find out what's going on? Wouldn't that be great?
No doubt that Google changed their policy because of
no doubt. No doubt.
You heard it first right here.
Wait for the call. So, okay, competition's over, winner announced. You've gone, as you said earlier on, you like the idea of a marketing concept being given room to breathe.
Sure.
You didn't want to bring this to an end. You were onto something here. You've all of a sudden got some good quality stuff onto page 1 for Frankston. And the idea of Frankston TV has come along from...
Well, the competition was called Frankston TV, but it was then, if I look back in retrospect, you could pick this model up and plonk it, because it effectively is a model. Start out the competition to generate the momentum and then take it to the next step, which we'll talk about now.
Go.
Which is the transformation of Frankston TV competition into just a community network, a community resource.
Show.
That anyone...
It's a show.
That'll come short.
Hang on. What's that middle step? So
basically, we needed the content to continue to come in. So the competition's over. That's over, Red Rover. What do we do to keep it?
One of the great sayings, by the way, remembering that being a global show, that's over Red Rover. Very Australian.
Very Australian, yeah, of course, yeah.
I interrupt.
So the community network, basically, we went out to community groups, sporting clubs, education facilities and said, Frankston TV is here. It's a resource for you to do whatever you want, whether it's promote, advocate, educate. It is just a promotional medium for you. Now, that required a bit of time to actually educate the community that this is pretty new, it's pretty different, and it's not happening elsewhere. How do we inform them that this is a resource they can use? So we sort of tapped a few of those sort of groups on the shoulder, and we saw that in time people were uploading clips to the channel, and we actually got a few champions out of it, a few film production champions that are out there in the community, going to events and stuff, filming, cutting, uploading to the channel.
Right.
And so it's actually...
Did you at some point too make it easy for... Because there'd be at this point, there's still a whole lot of small businesses going, gee, that's great, but I have no idea what I'd say, how I would even create a video, edit it, upload it. I mean, there's still a lot of blockages. So did you facilitate that? Yeah,
well, so bearing in mind it's broader than just business. That's one segment of it. what we did was to try and put it within reach of the average punter, because we've got businesses in Frankston that still don't have email addresses. Like,
don't say that. We're trying to talk Frankston up, Jonathan.
Most of them do. Most of them do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just gives you some context as to, and it wouldn't be dissimilar in all over the world. There'd be businesses out there that just don't have an online footprint.
Yeah, very true.
We created, demand was growing, and people, the phone started ringing. How do I get a film clip on Frankston TV on the YouTube channel? What do I do to do it? So we started a little scheme called Frankston TV Enterprises. We got our champions, our film production champions on there, and it's basically just a mini directory of the local film production firms, so that if someone rings up or wants to jump on the FTV website, they just click on video production and there's a list of all of the local providers and examples of the film clips that they've put together, whether it be for a sporting club or for a business or a community group. And we just make them agree to a few terms and conditions before they get on that list of preferred suppliers, I suppose you'd call it.
Yep.
So they need to provide a basic product, a 30-second advert or video for $500 or less, and that single-handedly puts it within reach of
fantastic
sort of small business.
Yep.
So that's how we put video production of a professional standard within reach of your punter that has no email address or whatever.
Okay, so competition's over. Don't want to stop. You've now got a facility where any business or anyone within the city of Frankston can create and upload their videos. Yep. So you're keeping that, because it's a content monster. You don't want, the last thing YouTube wants to see is, oh, this thing's gone to sleep.
Correct.
I call them the stagnant pond syndrome. So many businesses don't update their website once it goes live. It's, well, guys, that was the start line. You got to keep that thing fresh. So
absolutely,
that you keep talk about patting the monster on the head, which is Google or YouTube. So you've done that, and then in walks Frankston TV, the show.
The show, yeah. So we went from 16,000 views at the end of the comp, maybe up another 30 or 40,000 from that, and another 100 to 150 clips have been uploaded by various segments of the community. So there's, as you say, a lot of action going on from an online point of view. And someone, I got a phone call from someone at RMIT University, and by this stage I'd spoken about Frankston TV and the concept at a few conferences and things. And I got a call from a student there who also worked at Channel 31. The university and Channel 31, we'll touch on C31 shortly, are closely aligned. And he just said, look, this was raised in a university lecture, this concept. Tell me about it. And I said, this is what it is. He goes, do you reckon we could turn it into a TV show?
Boom, here we go.
And I said, well, absolutely, we'd love to. I was a bit sceptical. I'm like, how much, is this a money-making ploy?
Yeah.
What are your intentions here? Channel 31 is a community television station that broadcasts across Melbourne, metropolitan Melbourne and Geelong. But so their ideals are similar to Frankston TV in that it's a community.
Very much so.
They put, anyone in the community in theory can ask Channel 31 to air their TV show. Channel 31 will say yes or no based on quality and whether they think it's got an audience or anything behind it. So the concept then was to pick the best of the uploaded videos, mould them into a half an hour show, get it narrated, get it someone hosting it, and then from there it becomes a series. So we actually launched season 1 of Frankston TV on Channel 31 in March 2013, which was this year, and we had 6 episodes, and it was hosted by Dee Dunleavy, who's a Melbourne radio identity, and also someone that she used to go to Frankston High School. So
that's what we want to hear. A
local hero, and what's a female hero?
Heroine, which I've always found weird, but local heroine. Which, my God, there's a whole lot of gags there. Hey? Don't go there. Does it irk you that, like gags around Frankston?
Oh, absolutely.
It does?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll edit them out. I won't, but I'll tell you.
But look, I'll have a laugh about Frankston over a beer or two. That's fine.
Yeah.
But we try to, until that changes, we're going to suffer from that problem.
Yeah. And I really have the responsibility on my shoulder with a global podcast to make sure that people leave this by the end. Our challenge is to have someone want to buy in Frankston.
Well, it's funny.
Buy a home, set up a business.
Well, if you log on to frankston.tv, what I'll do is at the end of this podcast, I'll put our investment attraction film clip front and square.
There it is.
So
I'll put it in the show notes to this
fantastic.
episode.
All right, we'll organise a link. You'll be amazed.
There we go. So, okay, you've got a host. You are you've really crowdsourced the content because you're pulling the best videos that have been uploaded to the YouTube channel to kind of fill the gaps where DD host introduces this and then we go
Correct.
to this and
pulls it all together.
Pulls it all together.
Nice 6-inch show. And I think the one thing we haven't touched on is the beauty of the concept, which is that the cost to us of producing the content is almost zero.
Is it really? Like we're talking, where would the cost be? Your time?
Well, administrative time, but
DD's
people are
giving her time for free.
Look, and because we're a council and this is a community thing, you can pull on the heartstrings and say, look, out of the kindness of your heart, do it at a heavily discounted rate, which Beautiful. Is what we do. And the actual clips that appear on the show, very few of them are paid by council. Very few. And that's the beauty of it. We've got a TV show that I think the 2 seasons we've run so far, the cost of those would be, without the administrative side of it, well under $7,000, maybe under $6,000 for each series.
For the series?
For the series.
How many episodes?
6 in season 1, 5 in season 2.
Fantastic. So, okay, get it. Concept understood. It's a long-term idea. It's a big idea. Watching episode 5 of series 2, it's still in its infancy. There is so much growth. I mean, I think you're still working out your structure, the hosts, the content. You probably down the track will start creating more of your own content, maybe.
Yep.
I don't know, but there's so much growth, which is really exciting. And tell me, Johnathan, then, and by the way, listeners, I'm talking to Johnathan Reichwald, who is in business development, Frankston City Council, and has brought this wonderful idea of Frankston TV to life and bumped off all the bad stuff about one of Melbourne's used to be questionable suburbs and now a suburb on the up and up. And it's fantastic. So tell me about outcomes of Frankston TV. Lots of views. You're bumping the bad stuff off page 1 of Google. You've found yourself on Channel 31 and giving some businesses within Frankston who would never have dreamt of the kind of exposure they're now getting. What other kind of commercial outcomes are we seeing from Frankston TV?
Well, I think perception change is something we talk about a lot from a marketing point of view for Frankston. And it's no dissimilar to, I suppose, a business that might have a slightly bad reputation. If you think about some of the businesses out there that suffer from a bit of stigma, it might be your GM or Holden or General Motors or someone like that who might suffer from a stigma. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But this campaign, from a pure marketing and branding exercise, is about attitude change. So I think it's hard to measure in terms of has that occurred widely, but as you mentioned before, we're still in our infancy. We've had 2 5 or 6 episode series on a metropolitan TV channel. It might take a few years. We might be at season 8, and by that stage, enough people will have seen it. People are still discovering Frankston TV. I just happened to stumble across it on Channel 31.
I've looked at a couple of episodes, and I don't think it'll take a couple of years. I think I think it'll take years if you continue where you're at, and I don't think you will, because by nature I think you want to push the envelope. But I look at it and I wonder whether, because there is some magic. Often, no matter what you're looking at, whether it be a suburb or a business or whatever it is, there's always those little magical moments that you can find, and maybe you just need to find some of those where it does become viral. Right now, I think it's a viral idea. I don't think the content's that viral. There's no kind of amazing videos. I'm not cheapening Frankston TV at all, but I think about where could that go, and looking at it from a marketing perspective. There is, I look at someone, you don't want investigative journalism, but you want people to get in behind the scenes of Frankston and really
understand the fabric of the city, really.
Understand the fabric of the city, because in homes and businesses, there'll just be some amazing stuff,
There's what we tried to do this season, and you would have noticed on episode 5 that Ellie Cole is the host. Episodes 2 and 3 run a feature on her story. Ellie Cole is a Paralympic gold medalist, 4-time Paralympic gold medalist at the London Olympics. Yep, correct. She lost a leg at a very young age. I'm not going to shed too much light because it's a story that you should watch. Yeah. It's online now.
Yeah.
Episodes 2 and 3 on Frankston TV. The reason we did that is because we needed something bigger than Frankston for Frankston TV to go viral or to get bigger. So that's why we got Ellie involved, and we're going to upload those clips alone rather than embedded within the episode so that people can actually watch her story. That's what we need to do more of, I think. That's my view. We need to find some global or less local stories that can take Frankston TV to that next level.
There's a fantastic podcast that's created in the suburb next door to Frankston, not part of the Frankston Shire, unfortunately, but maybe we could kind of wedge it in somehow.
Well, we could certainly film. We could film a part of a podcast.
We should have been filming this.
We could be filming this.
Goodness me!
Where's the cam? Where's the webcam?
Oh, we need some kind of marketing people that think. Johnathan, now just to round off there, a great idea, an idea that absolutely right for its time, and can't wait to have you back in 18 months' time to see where it's gone. You work for a council. You're a forward-thinking young man, and I imagine there would have been, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, and you're going to have to filter everything you tell me now, but it would have been tough getting a big idea like this through council. I've worked inside councils. I haven't worked for councils, but things don't move quick. Council and quick don't go together. So was there anything you did? Was there someone, it was just happened to be someone who really got the idea, or did you just push it through?
Well, bureaucracy is a real challenge. I started at council when I was 22. I'm 29 now. So, and I'm still very, very young by council standards.
You are, yeah.
So it was a real challenge, an absolute challenge. And I was lucky in the first instance because the competition was an idea of an external, a business, who also happened to sit on a council committee. That gave it the legs it needed from a political point of view, and that's why that happened. Now, at council, for example, you're not allowed to build a website outside of the council website. There's these rules about things that you're just not allowed to. I can reliably say no one at council will listen to this podcast because the demographic is just wrong.
Be careful, though. Be careful. You never know.
If they do, I won't be back here in 18 months to report.
Yeah.
But, basically, what I did from there was I put the case to the CEO of the day, and he was very, very supportive. I have to take my hat off to him, and I think by the time he left Frankston, which was around 12 months ago, Frankston TV was, I think, one of his proudest things. He was into innovation and empowerment of staff and things like that. And the fact that he's ticked off on this, it was always a risk. There was always a risk involved in Frankston TV. But and I suppose there still is always a risk that as long as people can upload content, there's always a risk.
Risk and reward. Risk and reward.
So to this day, I'm probably not going by the company line by having a standalone website which is not branded as council. You'll notice if you go to frankston.vic.gov.au versus frankston.tv, both are independently branded.
Yes.
And the average punter won't know that council runs Frankston TV. It's very deliberately done. We don't want, particularly our young viewers and young audience, to be they won't associate with a bureaucratic brand, which is any government brand or a council. It just is not going to happen. Having said that, the biggest viewer demographic online is 35 to 44.
Yes. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is fascinating.
Isn't that interesting?
It's evolved. That's evolved as well because at the start it was a much younger audience.
Yep.
And I think that's a reflection on total internet usage and YouTube consumption. I think the world has shifted and people of that age cohort just generally
absolutely. In fact, I posted on the Small Business Big Marketing Facebook recently. I took a photo of these two lovely elderly ladies on the plane sitting sort of across the aisle from me. They would have been in their 80s and they were all over their iPads pre-takeoff and were just, in fact, were told to put the iPads away. So, that discussion of the oldies aren't on the internet, that's no longer a discussion. It's just a given. Yeah. So, the world has changed. Hey, Johnathan, I love Frankston TV, mate. I'm going to figure out how I can find my way on there, and love to kind of contribute, because I think it's an idea that's just so right for its time, and well done for the courage.
Oh, look, I'm very proud of it personally, and I really want to see other cities take it on. I think it's a real model that any city could pick up and drop down and have.
Mate, I can see you hopping on a plane, travelling all over the world, and just banging your fist on the desk and saying, "This is how you do it." So, what would a city elsewhere be that you could just kind of? Is it Liverpool? Is Liverpool a city under the pump?
Yeah, I was thinking more Seattle, maybe.
Seattle? There you go. Nice.
Essex in the United Kingdom, you could do it for the whole county, couldn't you? Essex. I don't want to offend anyone.
You could. Haven't been there, but I'll take your word for it. Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
Thanks, mate.
Whoa, he's a working class man.
I so haven't got a singing voice, but I love that song. It brings out the inner bogan in me. Anyway, enough of that. Back to Jonathan. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me share 3 top marketing learnings that I got from that little fireside chat. Number 1, you are who Google says you are. So work hard, everyone, at bumping either the bad stuff off page 1, or you probably haven't got bad stuff on page 1. You might not have anything on page 1, or you might have stuff on page 1 about you and your business that isn't as good as it could be. So you might want to bump that down onto page 2 and start working on getting the good stuff onto page 1. Number 2 learning from that fireside chat: get others to create your content. Not all of it, but it's a good idea. I mean, again, we fear that we're going to run out of ways to create content or things to create content about. Then get others to do it. Ask for guest posts. Ask for others to provide questions for which you can create content around. Get people to send, feedback. Listen to questions like I do. Blog posts, all that type of stuff. So that's a good thing. There's also this concept of curation, content curation. I'll go into more detail about that in another episode, but that's about finding existing content relevant to your business and adding your own opinion around it. Number 3 learning: make it easy for customers to interact with you. I loved how Jonathan offered up these $500 video production packages, because clearly that would have been a blockage to people contributing to that initial competition and to contributing to Frankston TV going forward. But he's now sourced suppliers who, for a very reasonable fee, can help people contribute. So hope you enjoyed that. I certainly loved bringing it to you. All right, I promise no more singing, at least for this episode. However, just a few things before we wrap this show up. As you know, I'm working on a second weekly episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I'm just looking for the right sponsor. Thanks to those listeners who have put suggestions forward. The right sponsor is all about someone who's going to help us as small business owners grow our business through great marketing. That's why Net Registry is such a perfect fit for this show. Plus, they're fantastic people. So I'm looking, they're kind of 2 of the criteria that I need to meet, that the new sponsor needs to meet for me to consider them. So don't want to sound picky, but I want to get it right for all of us. So keep sending your suggestions through to tim@smallbusinessbigmarketing.com if you do have an idea of someone who may benefit from sponsoring this show. Forum membership, don't forget, $1 for the first 7 days. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. Next week's guest is a leading Australian retail expert. We can learn a lot from those retailers. They're aggressive marketers at the best of times. So stay tuned for that. Hey guys, that brings us to the end of a show. Thank you, Net Registry, for your love and support. Head over to netregistry.com.au, listeners, for all your online marketing needs. And that brings us to the very end. I hope you had an incredibly good and fulfilling time. I'm Timbo Reid. You're a motivated small business owner. May your marketing be the best marketing. See ya.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
As promised, I said I'd share on an ongoing basis listener reviews that I'm getting on iTunes. So here's 3 for this week, and I want to thank each and every one of you. This is from Anthony Murphy, who says the best business marketing advice around, 5 stars. If you are looking for an easy listening, high quality podcast to pump up your marketing, create quality content, push your social media, or just improve your business, this is the show you need to subscribe to. Get around it. Thanks a lot, Anthony. This one is from Gus144. He says, loads of useful info without complicated jargon. 5 stars. The worst thing about small business big marketing is finding the time to listen to the entire back catalogue. If all else fails, this podcast will get the marketing cogs in your brain spinning. Thanks, Gus. And this one comes from Tristonic, who says, essential listening for all small business owners. 5 stars. Yep. That is what I tell every small business owner I meet. I get so much from every episode. So entertaining and inspiring. Thank you, Timbo, for your putting so much effort for the good of so many of us motivated entrepreneurs. Thank you, guys. Everyone else, if you feel up to it, go ahead over to iTunes, look up Small Business Big Marketing, leave a listener review. I will love you long time.